Hi, babies. Hi. Hi, baby. Hi.
We will be juicing today. Got 2 apples, 2 lemons, a bunch of celery, probably more ginger than we need, but here we go. And then some cucumber.
Hi, sweet boy. Hi.
We came over here for you. Escape the heat.
Hi, sweet boy.
We're at the animal hospital right now because our little baby Rocky is not feeling so hot, and we're hoping that they can help him out. He hasn't been eating at all for a few days now, and as he's gotten older, it's become normal for him to not want to eat for a day, sometimes even 2, and then he gets back to his normal self, like in terms of eating. Like his behavior doesn't really change. He doesn't get lethargic, he just doesn't eat, and then like after a little while he'll start eating again. Like that's kind of like his normal thing. But now it's gotten to the point where he doesn't want to eat anything. We've tried several things that in the past he would eat regardless of whether he was wanting to eat what we put in front of him. We've tried so many different things and he just turns his face. He doesn't want anything to do with food right now. He just drinks water. Luckily he's still drinking some water, but we have to like time the water that we give him because he will over drink it, and then that will result in him, you know, putting it out again. Yeah, I guess I just wanted to do this little update. Just sitting in the car here. I was gonna sit in the back, but he's a big boy. So we finally are home from the vet. We are going to be giving him care from home, and we are expected to see some blood work in about a week. That's going to tell us further the cause of the reason for why some of his levels in the recent blood work today are not where they need to be. They did give us different types of medication to help him out. They gave us what is it called? What was it?
An appetite stimulant.
Right, appetite stimulant. I always want to say suppressant. But they gave him an appetite stimulant to hopefully give him, you know, appetite. Right now I'm taking my supplements that I was supposed to be taking in the morning, but we rushed out of here and then took like probably 4 times longer than we thought we were going to take. And this drink still tastes disgusting to me, but it's like I'm used to it now, so I just take it. Can you pass me the measuring spoons? Thanks. So right now he's inside. We took him outside. He's an outdoor dog. He only comes inside, he only started coming inside comfortably recently because he does have anxiety as well. So putting him in places, putting him in environments that he's not used to is very stressful for him. But he did great at the vet, considering how long he was there and how many times he had to go in and out and see different people. So I'm proud of him for that. He's not eating, and that's our number one concern, him not eating. He's extremely lethargic due to the fact that he hasn't eaten in days. And maybe this looks disgusting to y'all. Oh well, it is what it is. This is how I make sure I'm getting the exact amount I'm supposed to get. By the way, apart from the full moon being tonight, or at its peak, and all this happening, tomorrow is also, or today is the last day of the gut portion of this program, and tomorrow I start the liver portion, which means that I will be removing all beef away from my diet right now, and I'm now going to be allowed to consume some grains, which I wasn't previously. So there's a lot of transitions and things happening, and it's been like this for, it seems like, this whole fucking year. Just speaking broadly, and then concentrated into the last few months of just like a lot of things happening, a lot of moving parts. And this isn't even getting into the discussion of trying to, you know, launch our business. It's been a lot of stuff. Got a new pimple there. This is an old one. I can't remember the last time I broke out in the middle of my face, but I know it probably has to do with the foods, right? The change in foods, maybe the stress. I am going to be doing some magics on my dog to help him out a little bit. I don't know if I'm going to show that or not, but I just thought I would check in. It's been a pretty exhausting day, to say the least. In the living room. But I just want to do some updates on how it's been. Today is the end of the 4th week, which was the first week of the liver phase of the protocol. With it, one of the newest supplements, I think I might have already mentioned this, but it's a drink, and it is so disgusting to me. I found a way to drink it so that it's not as disgusting to the point where it makes me want to puke, by adding ice. So that seems to help out. And the way that this liver protocol works is that that specific drink is increased. So the first couple of, no, I think it was like the first 5 days, I was supposed to drink it once in the morning before breakfast. Then the next 2 days, or yeah, I think it's 2 to 3 days, it's twice, once before breakfast, once before dinner. And then moving into the most extreme detox phase of it all, which is what I'm going to be starting tomorrow, is going to be having to take that drink 3 times a day, once before each meal, on top of no animal products whatsoever, so no meat. This is now starting to kind of, I wouldn't say it's worrying me, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be easy because there's hardly anything I could eat except for like veggies and fruit, really. Well, I can have grain now. I can have rice. So I think I'm going to be eating some very basic meals just to keep it simple. I'm not trying to get fancy in the kitchen, just because there's other things going on in my life right now that I need to lend my time to. And if you cook every meal for yourself and you don't like batch cook or cook in bulk, you know how time consuming it is, not even counting like the cleanup part. But I want to keep it as simple as possible, and it's only for a week. I think I'll survive. And I'm still tracking my food. My main concern there with this coming week is to make sure that I'm getting enough calories, because I know that I rather feel hungry than be stressed out about what I'm gonna eat. But I've been doing pretty good so far. I think the only days where like my calories were pretty low were during the time that my dog was at his worst. So yeah, I think those are the updates right now. Oh, I did kind of want to talk about sugar, because the only sugar that I'm having right now is natural sugar, like from fruits or fruit juices, like, because sometimes we juice, and when we juice we mix fruits with the veggies, so veggie and fruit juice. Yeah, that movie's loud. Yeah, so we mix fruit juices, and the raw fruit that I have for snacks plus that fruit juice is the only sugars that I'm really having. And what I've noticed, apart from like amazing performance of the gym that I already talked about as well, is that I feel like I can go for longer periods of time without food without feeling like my blood sugar took a dip. And this was kind of getting to the point where it was scaring me a little bit before. And I feel like personally, because, you know, like, I'm not a medical doctor and I've read some about these things that I'm talking about, but I'm not going to call myself a source whatsoever. Just sharing my experience, my thoughts, my own personal, you know, gnosis, whatever. I feel like because I removed a lot of the processed stuff, as well as the sugars, the refined sugars, and just like sugar in general, apart from like natural sugar, like I said before, like from fruit, it has allowed my threshold to be a lot more tolerant. I hope that's making sense. I'm able to go longer periods without requiring sugar because I'm not going into really low lows or high highs, and the high highs would be produced by that artificial sugar and all of the like highly processed stuff, and then it would send into a low that would require me to have more. I might look into that a little bit later. I'm trying not to put too much on my plate, but my health is important to me. And when I got my blood work done, even though like I'm not diabetic, I'm not pre-diabetic, the number that I got, which is the number that you look at to see if you're close to being a diabetic, should be on the higher side, and I was like at the very low side. Like I was like a hair away from being hypoglycemic. And I'm not saying that I'm trying to change that or that was a goal, but I think that that kind of really made my theory about what I was going through during those uncertain times a lot more real. And being able to not have to eat like snacks in between meals and just go based off of my hunger and when I feel like eating, versus, oh, I feel like I'm starting to get nauseous or I'm getting dizzy, or in the worst case scenario for me, heart palpitations, you know? So it's really been eye-opening. And right now I would be lying if I would tell you that I have not been craving food that I can't have these past few days. And I know it's also very much tied emotionally to what I've been going through with my pet. And I realize, you know, a lot of us, when we go through deep emotional hurts, we go to that comfort food. I think I talked about this already too, but I think the last time I did an update video was about a week ago. So I wanted to just still touch base before I forgot anything that I wanted to say. But yeah, I've been craving comfort foods. I've been craving sugars. Not to the point where I'm getting angry or anything like that, but it just seems like something that would be nice to have. And like, I can't have coffee. I'm only having like teas and things like that. And that's fine. But I get like this like comforting sensation when I think about having like a nice warm cup of tea with sugar and creamer, and I use Truvia. Like, I don't even use like sugar from like a sugar cane. I use Truvia, but still, like, it's an artificial sweetener. Well, it's not artificial, it's from the stevia leaf. It's a sugar replacement, I guess. But it tastes like sugar to me, and I can't even have that. But what I've been craving more than anything has been chocolate chip cookies, which, it's not totally weird because I do like them, but I just didn't think that that's something that I was gonna crave. And it's already been like a few days where, like, I'll say it out loud to my sister, like, oh my god, a chocolate chip cookie. I've actually not even said chocolate chip anymore. Now I'm saying chalky chip. But I guess I'll just have to keep updating on how this week goes. But it's crazy to think that after this phase that's gonna last an entire week with no meat, I will only have one more week left in the 6 weeks. And that to me is insane. I mean, we're talking about no cheats, no off plan, not a bite off plan, like not even a bite, not even a lick off plan. And I mean, it says volumes for so many things. Like, it says so much of my own discipline. It says so much of how much my body actually means to me and the commitment that I'm putting towards loving it and giving it what it really needs when it needs it. Because it's also like unrealistic to think about any way of eating, whether it's a cleanse, a diet to get into a certain dress size or whatever, that it's permanent. I think that we need to eat according to our seasons, and I'm not specifically referring to the yearly seasons, although that's also like a good thing to do. Keep variety, especially in like your gut, you know, keep that gut microbiome full of the good bacteria. And the thing is when you just eat the same foods over and over again, you alter that bacteria, and then you keep it deprived of other types of bacteria because you've been depriving it of other types of food. And so many of us are just eating the wrong foods for the type of bacteria that we need to be having so that we have a happy gut. But the thing is that your gut microbiome changes really rapidly, or your gut does. Like I said, not a medical doctor, but I've done a lot of reading on this. Your gut changes. So it's not about always eating these foods and you're trapped. Like, you could go and eat like other things on occasion and you're not gonna like completely die unless you have some type of medical condition that I don't know of. Once again, don't listen to me for medical advice. Listen to me for my life experience. But the thing is that, okay, so, oh my gosh, I talk so much, you guys, and I get on my nerves that I say that I talk so much, and then it gets on my nerves that I had to say that about that, and then I end up doing this, and then I end up editing this out anyway, so who cares? But I have taken gut tests before. I've actually taken the Viome microbiome test, and essentially they send you a kit when you buy it. You send it back with a blood sample, and I believe it's also a stool sample. Yeah, I think it's just those two. And then they run all these test analysis on it. You get an app. On the app, it has your profile, and it tells you exactly what certain health markers are, because I think that they've upgraded it since I did it. But they'll tell you what kind of gut bacteria you're lacking in order to have a happy microbiome, right? And then they suggest, of course, they're going to sell their probiotics. So they're suggesting their probiotics and supplements and other stuff to help balance you out. I'm not saying you have to have that, but the most important thing to me that they give you is they give you lists of foods that you need to eat more of, that you can continue eating without a problem, and foods that you should avoid. And the reason being is because of the type of bacteria that they feed in your gut. So it's not that these foods are inherently bad, because it's different for everybody, because everybody's gut microbiome is different. So like, let's just say that for me on my list, it says to avoid brown rice, which it did. I don't know what it would say now because my gut's changed. But in the past, it told me to avoid brown rice and eat white rice, which is funny because for the longest time, so many of us thought, or I don't know about y'all, but over here, that brown rice was inherently better quality and just better for the person to eat than white rice. They said that brown rice wasn't as nutrient deficient as white rice. But if your gut is not set up at the current state to break down that brown rice, you're causing more harm than good had you just have the white rice. And that's not true for everybody, because then, you know, Sally over there, and I don't know who Sally is, but, you know, random name, whatever, probably has a totally different gut than you do. And for her, it's completely fine for her to eat brown rice, but she might have a problem digesting, or she might have a problem with apples and pineapples. And for you, that might be one of your superfoods, which means that you need to eat more of those, because that's what's going to feed the bacteria you need to feed so that your microbiome becomes optimal, or in an optimal state, whatever. The weekend is coming up soon, so I'm going to try to work out, but I'm going to definitely make sure that I'm carbed up before that workout, because I'm not trying to have any bad experiences at the gym. And lately my gym experiences have been phenomenal, although I'm not going as often because of other things. I definitely want to get back into routine doing that, but I think right now it's okay because my body's also going through this 6-week program, so I don't want to push it either. I'm not doing any cardio, I'm not counting my steps, which is, not counting my steps, that's crazy to me because I've been doing that forever. That's why I'm always wearing my watch. It's my step counter. And I just do it for general health. But yeah, I haven't been counting my steps, haven't really cared that I'm sitting down all day on some days. But then when the weekend comes around and I get a chance to go to the gym, then I'll be like, hell yeah, let's go to the gym. And the last time we went to the gym, I had leg day with my partner, and I had not done a workout like that in a long time because I simply couldn't get to all of those exercises without completely burning out, either like physically just feeling tired. Like, it's not like, oh, I got tired because the workout was too much. It was just like life felt like too much, and then the workout on top of it was like, that's too much. Or I started feeling like I was having kind of like a hypoglycemic episode. So that's why. But anyways, I was able to push myself and do some heavy-ish squats that I hadn't done in I don't even know how long. And it was chef's kiss. And had my conditioning been a little better, and it's not because I haven't been doing it consistently, so duh. But if my condition had been a little better, I probably would have been squatting over 200 pounds for reps, easy. After not squatting for, I don't know, maybe past 3 months. And even then, I think the most I squatted at that point was like maybe 135 or 175.
You're a fool.
Today is the second day of eating no meat. Right now, I'm gonna head to the gym in a little bit, but it's really important for me to have food before so that I'm not like feeling depleted or feel like passing out. So in here, I have about a cup of rice and then like some sweet potatoes that I cooked in the air fryer. Should be enough carbs to hold me through my workout. I'm gonna hit a leg day today. I haven't been feeling like horrible or great just because I pulled out meat. I feel pretty neutral about it, but I definitely keep thinking about my next meal, because I'm now at the point where I'm taking one of the supplements, the one that tastes less than ideal, every single time before a meal, 3 times. Because I'm having snacks if I need to, but if I don't, then I won't. I'm really listening to my hunger cues, but I'm not going to eat every time that I'm hungry, just because I want to establish an actual schedule of eating. I feel like my schedule has been so sporadic and chaotic for so many years because of just life. And I would like to get on a schedule. I would like to have, like, apart from breakfast, like a decent lunchtime and a dinner time. And my in-between snacks are usually either smaller versions of meals or a fruit or something. But not eating meat makes it very difficult in terms of meeting caloric goals. Because, you know, veggies and fruits obviously have calories, but not as much when you're combining them with eating meat, because you're not just taking away the meat from the diet, you also have to supplement what you're taking away with what you are allowed to have. And I'm definitely not a huge fan of veggies. There's a handful of veggies that I love, and I tend to stick with those, and I just finished them. So I don't really have any in stock right now. I need to go get some. We'll probably go after the gym. And when it comes to fruit, also running out of the fruit that I have here. So it just feels a little like there's a little food insecurity because I'm running out of my food since it is the end of the week, but also because my options are now that much more limited. It feels a little like, not that cool. But other than that, like, I've actually been doing pretty great. I've really been learning to have things and be okay with not having certain things, and realizing that it's never the end of the world when you can't satisfy a craving, you know? And I think that for me personally, it's definitely a power play. Like, I refuse to be at the beck and call of a craving. I am the one that's in control of what I put in my body and why I do it. And when I have a craving, which is normal, I get to choose what I do with that. That is my decision. And in the past, I thought it was my decision, but it was more like me just giving into something because it felt like maybe nothing else that day had gone right, or I deserved it. Like, I used it as a reward system, and that's unhealthy for me to use food as a reward system because it's not something I need to earn. I am making the choice to have whatever it is that I'm going to eat based off of what my plans are. So I just want to make sure that when I'm making food choices, it's because it's what I want and not based off of a temporary emotion or me needing a pacifier. That's kind of like how I've been like thinking about things. Like, when I feel like I'm craving something, I'm like, do I really want that? Like, I'm not gonna have it. Like, I'm not gonna have it. Like, I've gone too fucking far in this cleanse, cleanse and repair program to like toss everything in the trash right now. Like, I am literally on the second to last week of this entire 6-week program, and I have not folded. So I'm just gonna run with it. And I think I've mentioned it before, but I'm still so fucking proud of myself. This is like beyond. And part of me thinks that the reason that I've also been succeeding is because, you know, in reality, my health is somewhat at stake. The quality of my life is somewhat at stake. And one thing I have always said, even at a young age, was that I wanted to grow to be over 100 years old. And I didn't want to feel like shit when I got there. And this is a part of that. And if it feels like, oh my God, like I'm suffering, it's like, suck it up. Because right now when you're young, if you think this is suffering, when you get older, oh baby, it's going to be so much worse. And I also have a constant reminder of that, right? Because I live with technically 3 senior citizens. And, you know, I keep in my head like the moments that they're in pain or that they're not having a good day because of the choices that they've made for their own health, you know, for their body. And I try to use that as an example for when I'm trying to convince myself that I should or shouldn't or whatever do things that are in my best interest for my body. You know, of course, always consulting my personal knowledge, my sister who is a Chinese medicine doctor, previous research experience, as well as checking in with my body and seeing how my body feels. And, you know, it's always been a journey, but I've seen my body go through so many phases, you know, not only in the way it looks, but also in the way it feels, both on the outside and the inside. And it's just served to really teach me about who I am. And how I treat my body is a reflection of, you know, what I've been through and how I've handled it for my entire life. And I know that this is a sensitive subject for a lot of people, and I'm not telling anybody what to do. I hope that always comes off as like the message, like I'm not telling anybody what to do. I just use my experience to show others what is possible if they think that they're maybe stuck in a loop, because I felt like I was stuck in a loop for the longest time. And a lot of the times, sad but true, you have to do that thing you don't want to do. Like, there's a reason there's resistance. Like, when you have a resistance to do something, if you have the capacity, assess why that resistance is present. Assess why you are so, like, appalled by it. Because sometimes it's for a reason that makes sense, like in terms of like trauma or past experiences. But sometimes it's also because our bodies and us tend to want to be comfortable. So when we want to push it to places that take work, it's going to resist us.